So, depending on when I get this video done, I'm already $2,000 ahead in 2025. And it's not even the end of the year. Okay, well, at the time of writing this script, it's the end of the year, but I've already done some extras that have already put me $2,000 ahead in 2025. So, in one of my recent videos, I went over my budget breakdown. I have listed every single possible expense for me, and I've done so I can find inefficiencies in my budget and find cheaper options. Well, I've already managed to find some new ones for the new year. But alongside this, I've also made some extra income on the side that has helped me get $2,000 ahead already in 2025. Oh, $2,000, is that all? Doesn't sound like much money. Well, maybe you're right, depends on who you are, but I'm certainly not complaining about an extra $2,000 in my pocket. So let's go over exactly what I did to get $2,000 ahead this early in the new year. 1. I made more money. Well, how did I do this? Did I get a surge in YouTube ad revenue? Did I get a bonus at my accounting job? Well, nope and nope. But another one of my income streams, my wagey job, has come in clutch. So going into Christmas, work gets busier. Also, less people are available. They want you to have full availability over the holidays as a wagey/retail worker. But with employment laws becoming more strict, there's less work can do about this. Like if your employer, fires you for not being available around Christmas, the employee is more likely to win a lawsuit than the employer. So how does this impact me? Because with people being unavailable for the extra workload required, guess who is available? Me. The store manager asked me at one point if I'm available for any extra shifts. And I said, yeah, sure, what do you need? And he asked what I can do. I mentioned I could do a specific Friday night. I probably could have gotten other shifts if I wanted, but at the time I was really honed in on gym, still am, so I didn't want to have availabilities for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, since those are my gym nights throughout the week. And I didn't want to do Monday since I had already planned a social event for that day already, so that was one extra shift. I also mentioned to my direct line manager and the store manager that I'm not working Christmas Eve, but I can. So, guess who got an extra shift on Christmas Eve? This guy. I think I only got it because some other new girl said she can't work due to family stuff, not because they actually specifically needed extras in my department, but it doesn't matter. There's an extra 5 hours there. Boxing Day also got asked to work. Another manager took the shift off since here in Australia, if you have a contract that says you work on a specific day that falls under a public holiday, you can opt to take that day off and get paid for it. Or you can work it and receive public holiday rates. At my office job, since we're not even open public holidays, there's no option to work it. But at a supermarket, if you have a contract, you can work it. For instance, my contract is weekends. Easter falls on weekends. I can choose to take Easter off and get paid for it, but I always opt for those juicy public holiday rates. So one of the managers took it off, and I covered part of their shift. 5 hours, easy money, 7 a.m. to 12 p.m. A pretty early wake up for the day after Christmas, but hey, by the time it reached midday for Boxing Day, I stacked an extra $300. Well, a bit more than that. We'll delve into the details of the extra pay later. Next extra shift, New Year's Eve. Another busy one. With most newbies not wanting to work, that's fine. Extra money for me. I could have opted to hang out with my friend instead, but last year we hung out and it was very average. Not sure which video I mentioned it in, but it was a recent video. But the point is, I'm not too bummed out about working on New Year's Eve instead of going out to hang out. Okay, cool, you've got a New Year's Eve shift, 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. Well, you can still hang out after 10 p.m., right? Since that's when most of the action occurs. Well, of course. In fact, that's what I did New Year's Eve in 2019 and 2023. I worked until 10 p.m. both of those New Year's Eves, and then I went to hang out after that. But that's because I had the following day off work. Guess what? This year, I'm working New Year's Day. or I worked New Year's Day. Like every shift I've mentioned in this video, I've already done. I usually do work New Year's Day, but New Year's Day in 2020 and 2024, I didn't work, which was interesting since usually I do. So this year, I worked New Year's Day as well. I worked 8 hours, got paid for 7.5. So lots of extra shifts, lots of extra monies, lots of extra coinage. Now, no doubt this has raised the question, how is this putting you ahead in 2025? You worked most of these in 2024. Isn't that technically putting you ahead in 2024? Well, maybe. However, I received most of this pay in 2025. The shift I did on the Friday night, the 20th of December, I received that extra pay in 2024. However, work kind of screwed up my Sunday pay for that week, so that got fixed in a 2025 payday. Basically, I didn't get paid for a part of my Sunday shift, and that Friday shift basically counted as the missing part of my Sunday shift. Look, it's literally not important. The point is you can argue whether this was a clutch money stat increase for 2024, but I see it as putting myself ahead in 2025 and setting the tone for the new year. I made a video very early on in my channel called It's January 3rd and I'm already 7 days ahead. And I went over all the extra improvements I did in late 2021 and early 2022 and how it had put me ahead. Well, same deal here. My actions late in the year / early in the year have already pushed me ahead. So let's look at this. A quick Excel sheet I whipped up that illustrates the money I earned. On the left, we have the date of the shifts, then the paid hours. For 4 out of 5 of these shifts, they weren't long enough for a meal break. The New Year's Day shift was, so I didn't get paid for said meal break. The base rate is what you get paid during normal hours. The night penalty is any extra pay for hours worked starting at 6 p.m. Public holiday rate, self-explanatory. So the gross pay shows what I earned for that shift. For the night shifts, this was 1 hour of your base normal rate since I started work at 5. Well, the Friday I started at 5:30 actually, since I didn't leave work early and I couldn't get there by 5 p.m. The other night shifts, Xmas Eve and New Year's Eve, my office gig closed early, so I could get there in time for a 5 p.m. start. So for the hours of 5 to 6, I got paid the base rate, $26.07 or 07. For any hours after 6 p.m., I was being paid $32.58. And any public holiday rates, I got $58.66 per hour. So you can see how much I earned for each extra shift. But we haven't included the retirement fund benefits. So we tack on an extra 11.5% for the extra funding I get for my retirement fund. So totaling these all up, my gross extra amount here was $1,189.44. And when you include the retirement fund benefits, that equals an extra $1,326.23. I've included gross and retirement fund, but not net pay. Why not? Well, because these shifts were lumped into my usual pay slip, which includes my regular shifts. And I don't even remotely care enough to split adjust these pay slips into what I got net from those extra shifts. Plus, the way my wagey job is taxed means I'm not paying as much tax as I should per payslip. And I could do like a, 30% tax rate on what this is. But at the same time, I pay more tax than that because of my student debt and the Medicare levy in Australia. But at the same time, I pay less because of my enormous tax deductions. So it would really overcomplicate things, and it doesn't really matter too much. Who cares? I won't go into it here. I want this video to be a shorter one, but I've talked about this sort of tax thingo in prior videos, like how the tax works on my secondary job. Okay, cool. So we're about $1,300 ahead. But your video title says you're $2,000 ahead. Are you clickbaiting? Nope, but I should clickbait more since my channel is being punished for not clickbaiting. No one's clicking anything, but there's another area we haven't considered. And no, it's not investments. I haven't been asked to swing trade lately. It's my expenses. So what expenses have I cut / changed that have helped me push over the $2,000 mark? Expense 1, video editing. I mentioned in my budget video that I was probably going to cut Adobe Premiere Pro. Well, I've done that now. My subscription lasts until April, so I'll still use it, but after that, I'm going to use DaVinci Resolve's free version. The paid one is $295, super cheap, especially since that's a lifetime purchase, not an annual rental like Adobe, but the free one would do just fine. So if I was to renew, it would cost me $419.89. Bloody hell, they're really hiking the price with this one. So that saved me $419.89 by cutting this cost for my 2025 budget. Next savings, my phone bill. I mentioned in my budget video that you could cycle through new SIMs for cheaper deals for a few months, and how I said this was ultimately a waste of time since I get paid more per hour compared to what I actually save by doing this. Since it obviously takes me some time to do all this stuff, and turns out whatever I save by doing this phone cycling thing, I'd literally be better off just working an extra hour at my wagey job. And whilst what I said is still correct, it's still not worth switching SIMs, I have found an annual prepaid option that works out cheaper than my phone plans. I got an ad from Dick Smith in my emails. If you're not Aussie, Dick Smith is some sort of electronics retailer. I imagine it's similar to Best Buy in the United States, and they used to be pretty well known back in the day, but some bad leadership over the years has caused them to almost fail. I saw some info about it a while ago, and they use this case study in many university assignments and in some CPA questions, so it's a pretty infamous example here in Australia, but somehow they're still up and running. So they were advertising some stuff, Boxing Day sales via emails. Usually they try and pitch you a TV, but they were pitching phones/SIMs. So I clicked, and welp, turns out I found me a great deal. Who knew that email advertising actually worked? Wow. One deal was 25 gigabytes per month for $179 a year. Then there was another deal for 140 gigabytes for an entire year. Works out to be around 11 gigabytes a month, $119 per year. There was also some sign-up $5 credit if you signed up via email. I was already signed up on the email that I normally use, my personal one, since that's how I got the ad, obviously. So then I just used my work email for this extra sign-up. So I got $5 off this order. So these two SIMs would have cost me $298 altogether, but instead it was $293. Not bad, hey? $293 per year for two SIMs. Prior to that, my phone plans were $25 per month each. Well, they were actually cheaper because of the whole few months at half price deal, but after that, they'd revert back to $25 a month each, which is $300 per year. So this new SIM plan for both of my phones costs less than what one phone would cost for an entire year. So the SIM with more gigabytes, I'll use that for my iPhone, saved me $121, and the one I'll use for my Samsung saved me $186. Technically $191, but I put the $5 credit here. If you want to know why I use two phones, basically my Samsung works as a tablet in a way, and the phone case is indestructible. So I have it in the shower. If it falls into the water, the case is waterproof. I have it while cooking. If it falls off the bench onto the floor, it doesn't break. Also, it's an extra phone battery in a way. If I'm somewhere and one phone runs flat, I have another. You could use the good phone case for the iPhone too, but there's some instances where I have YouTube going on the Samsung whilst browsing my iPhone for stuff. It's kind of like when you have your TV running whilst you scroll through your phone. Why don't you just use YouTube on your phone while scrolling? Because having the video on a separate device just works better in many cases. Also, my Samsung is my gym phone, so I don't see people's Snapchats and texts, etc. So in the gym, I am fully locked in since I'm using a phone that doesn't show me social media notifications/texts from work/family. You could sign out of your iPhone whilst you lock in at the gym. Obviously, everything I said can be done with one phone, but for quality of life, I have the two phones. Also, since the phone case is indestructible, I just sort of chuck my phone whenever I'm about to do a set in the gym. I'm sure you've seen those gym reel memes like on Instagram or TikTok where people are so like violent with their phone in the gym. Like they're on it for a bit, then they just throw it on the floor when they do their set. That's what I do as well. And the Samsung with its indestructible phone case means that I've been able to get away with this for years and not have a broken phone. Also, now this extra phone is only costing $114 per year. I made more than that with one Friday night shift. Extra quality of life, paid for in only 4.5 hours. So I'm not going to worry about this cost. People spend $50 plus per date. On 2 or 3 occasions, that goes nowhere. At least I'm getting something out of this. So, no paid video editing software and cheaper phone plans saves me $726.89 in 2025. If you combine this with the extra money I earned, I'm $2,053.12 ahead in 2025, and we've barely started. Set the tone for the new year. The purpose of this video was to showcase some extra work and savvy money saving ideas I've implemented into my routine. Maybe it's given you some extra ideas on how to get a little further ahead. Money isn't really a problem for me. I mean, I work 2 jobs, one of them is in accounting. You'd hope I have no money problems, but an extra $2,000 right out the gate, this goes a long way for many people. Last year I spent about $3,500 on groceries in total. I've already saved up enough money to cover more than half my grocery bill for the new year. Assuming my food costs stay about the same, they may not, but that doesn't change the fact that this money goes a long way. Saying yes to a few extra shifts and cutting back on some of your expenses can give you a nice extra safety buffer. Any extra shifts you've done lately? Any extra costs you've managed to cut? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. That is all.